All right, guys, what's going on? We're back with another video. This one is called Why a Normal Life Doesn't Make Sense Anymore. I'm going to break this down, and then at the end, I'm going to provide you with an alternative solution so that you can get what you actually want out of life. So let's get into it. So, what you're seeing on screen here is like, it's hard to believe this is what life used to be like, but this is what like normal life was. And this is, this is why I don't beat up on older people necessarily, because they just grew up in a different time. And like, I just think it's better to just have a level of empathy for that and understanding. Like, most likely, if you were in their shoes, you would have done the same things they do. But like, this is what life was like back in the day. You've got, just your classic, family with two kids, husband, wife. The husband works, the wife's like a stay at home mom who cleans and cooks and all this shit, and it all just worked really well. And you could buy like this 4-bed, 2-bath house for $11,990 in total, not a month. I was gonna say a month. Like that's so crazy, guys. When you think about that, just like you can't even get like a used fucking Hyundai for that anymore. It's just ridiculous. 87 bucks a month for a house. I mean, that's crazy. Like my fucking gym membership is like more than that. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? But like this is what life was like. I mean, you had like just it was all so different. This was normal, and so it makes sense why people would do this kind of shit. We had this kind of thing, right? You'd go to McDonald's again, 15 cents for a hamburger, but the key point here is that McDonald's in the back in the day didn't used to poison you. It was like they cooked the fries in beef tallow, not seed oil. Like the meat was, locally raised, or even if it wasn't locally raised, it wasn't full of all the crap they put in the meat today, and then the food that the cows eat before they're slaughtered and all that. Like it was much healthier quality food, and that's why you would see that, like, you go look at an old picture and there's no obese people, is because the food was not toxic for you. This was the world that people grew up in. This was a normal life back when it made sense. Like if you could just go to the grocery, like go to the restaurant, get some cheap food that was good for you and wasn't screwing your body up, and you could have your husband, like your wife, and you could have your kids, and it was all great, and you were the head of the house, and you were respected, and your house cost less than a freaking cell phone plan costs these days. Like it made sense to do this kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Pictures like this, this is Red Foreman from That 70s Show. He was the like manager of like a grocery store or something like that. And like he made like enough money to take care of his family on his own, just with this one job that he basically just got after he left the military. And like he just kind of like climbed up the little ladder there in his little town, and now he gets to make this living, and he gets to take care of everything. He owns his house and all this shit. Like this was normal life. It was things like this, going out for a date with a girl was like you go to the diner and get sundaes or something, and she's not talking to like 100 other guys because she doesn't have that kind of access, and she's looking to be like in your frame. She wants you to lead. Like it was just a completely different reality, and like everybody knew how to play this game, and so it all worked really well. The entire world was set up for normal people. Understand that, like, from about 1950 to probably 1980 or 90 or so, like the whole world just worked for normal people. But over time, things have changed. And I mean, here's what we're dealing with right now. You've got everybody stuck in fucking traffic. You've got some soul killing corporate job that you don't like. You don't even know what you do at the job. It's just like, it's just stuff you're doing like just to pass the time. You have no connection to it. You're literally just there just so that you can make ends meet. But you're really not even able to make ends meet because the average person in America is making $39,982 per year, as you can see by this graphic right here. So like you're just in this spot where, like, I mean, the houses cost more, which we're going to get to that here in a second. You're working in this cubicle like this under fluorescent lights. It's just toxic. Like the carpet cleaner that came in and cleaned the carpets and everything put a bunch of toxic fumes into the air with the cleaning supplies they used. So you're driving through traffic in some car that's like fucked up. You're wearing the shirt you don't want to wear. You don't have any passion or purpose in life. You're not connected to anything that you're doing. You're flat broke, and you're working in some soul killing, depressing office. Like the game has clearly fucking changed, as you can see. And then you see shit like this. You see right here, this one house, $1.15 million for that house. Dude, that is crazy. Like, I don't even care how nice the inside of it is. Like, I looked through the pictures and like, it's fine. It's nothing crazy, but like, it's just nuts how expensive this shit is. Like 1.15 million for that? Really? That house is like in a town like fairly close to me. And I'm like, I don't understand how people like why people want to live there and pay that kind of money for that house and shit like that. You can see right there, estimated mortgage payment, $6,739 a month. Like that's crazy. Like it's insane. And then you got this one right here in Austin, Texas, $5,212 per month for the mortgage estimated on an $800,000 house. I mean, like you could just see. So like we've gone from $87 a month to like 5 to 6 grand a month for this shit. And I'm in real estate, and like I'll help first time buyers. And obviously, like I'm pulling some examples. There are cheaper houses out there, but like you just like I even for that, I'm like, man, I don't know how the average person's doing this, and they aren't, because nowadays the average first time buyer is 41 years old. That's like something nobody really realizes. So don't worry if you're out there and you're like 28 or something like that, and you don't own a house, and that makes you feel bad. Trust me, you are not as far behind as you think. You probably aren't behind at all, actually. But like you see this kind of shit, you're making 40 grand a year. This is how much a house costs. You hate your job. Like normal life fucking sucks now. Okay. It's shit like this, you know, it's like the average guy is like out of shape and looks like shit. You've got like in this factory right down here, if you're wondering what that's all about, that is a seed oil factory. That is where they refine seed oil, which is what they put in all the food. And if you're thinking, geez, that looks like an oil refinery, well, you'd be right, because literally the shit they put in your food is made the same way they do motor oil. It's the same shit. They put it in the food, and it's related to all kinds of diseases and obesity and all that other fucking bullshit that we have in the health crises that we have today. It's related to the crap that they put into the food, you know? So like you can't just live a normal life even when it comes to diet and things like that, because you'll just get fucked up by it. You know, here's a can of soda right here, 52 grams of sugar in that can of soda. Great fucking thing that's going to do to your body. Like you're just like, it's a fucking mess. I don't even need to say anymore. You get the point. Dating lives right here. Current U.S. divorce rate. As of 2024, the U.S. divorce rate remains between 40 and 50% for first marriages, though these numbers have been steadily declining over the past few decades. And I have a theory on this, by the way. I think the reason divorces are declining somewhat is because liberals just don't get married anymore. So it's only conservatives getting married. And so like they are a little bit less likely to get divorced. But the numbers still stand, 40 to 50% of first marriages ending in divorce. You got basically a 50-50 chance that this shit's going to blow up and you're going to be left holding the bag, giving her half of your net worth and all this kind of shit, even though you probably don't have much of a net worth. Let's be fucking real, especially if you're living a normal life. And then this one right under here, it says women initiate divorce more often than men on average. Numerous studies have shown this. In fact, nearly 70% of divorces are initiated by women. So like, you put yourself in this spot where you are in a bind, and a woman can just be like, I'm just not feeling this anymore, and then just run off with half your net worth. And even if you're in a relationship, it's like she's not really into you anymore. It's like this thing. Most guys don't get the respect or the appreciation they want from a woman. We've got all the OnlyFans kind of stuff. Like the world has just fucking changed if you haven't figured that out. It is not the same game anymore. And if you're living the same way that people in 1950 lived, you're going to be screwed. You need to understand that the world is not set up for the success of the normal person anymore. This is not the world that our grandparents lived in or our parents lived in. This world is not set up so that normal people can have good lives. And really, it wasn't even that set up for it back in the day. It's just that shit was working out because we had just won World War II. The economy was booming. We were the unquestioned power of the world over here in America. And, you know, everything was just in a really good spot, and we didn't have all the debt, and everything wasn't financed, and we didn't have asset bubbles and all this kind of shit. Like it was just a different world, and it's just not set up for the success of the normal person. And we're moving into a completely different reality. And because of this, people choose one of these three paths right here. This is what most people do, because everybody knows this shit is fucked. Everybody's kind of like looking around complaining about it and all this kind of stuff. But like, this is what most people do. They pick one of these three paths. The first one is they put their head in the sand like this. They just act like nothing's going wrong. They go to college, they get in debt, they just try and trust the system and follow the process that was laid out for them by the system and all this kind of stuff. And we know this doesn't end well, because you get all the shit that we just showed. You're out of shape, divorced, you're poor, you can't afford a house. You're just, it's a fucking disaster. You have a soul killing job. Basically, all you've got is like Netflix. And it's just depressing. And this is what a lot of people end up doing. In fact, most people are doing this right now. They're putting their head in the fucking sand. And hopefully these kinds of videos wake some of you up, because I bet a lot of you were putting your head in the sand and just being like, I don't know what to do, so I'm going to do this. And I try to provide an alternative for you guys to like live differently on this channel. This is the second thing people do right here. They just crash the fuck out. They just get in this thing where they're just bitter about the way the world works. They're bitter about women. They're bitter about the system. They're bitter about whatever. Like they're just bitter about everything, and they crash the fuck out. And this is a horrible idea too, because it wastes the one life you have wallowing in bitterness and self-pity. And that is just about as gay as it gets. Like, just, it is so embarrassing to do that. These people disgust me. They are the scum of the earth. These fucking bitter, complaining ass people. Like, it's just so pathetic. But a lot of people are doing this, especially a lot of guys. They're just wanking off in their parents' bedroom, like, not bedroom, I hope not in your parents' bedroom. They're wanking off in their parents' basement, complaining about the way the world works. And this is what a lot of people are doing right now. And it's just gross, and it does not work for you. We know this doesn't end well. You do not want to be this guy. This guy is never the hero of the story. Nobody ever is like, man, the guy who was wallowing in bitterness and resentment, he was the guy who was right all along. Nobody's ever like that. He's always the villain of the story every time. And then this is the third path that people are taking right now. And this is one that, I've really been wanting to try and make a point against these people, because I have a huge problem with this path. This is what they call the tradcon path, which is like traditional conservative, which is, it's basically this like movement to try and like LARP, like we want to go back in time. It's this thing where we pretend like, oh, like, can't we just keep all the traditional values? Can't we just, like go back to the 1950s, and like everybody wants to have a farm. You'll see this a lot on Twitter and things like this. All these people who want to be like farmers and shit. It's like, guys, y'all have not worked on a farm. You'll see like somebody on Twitter being like, I just want my like girl, and I'm gonna go get a cow and have a farm and all this shit. I'm like, bro, you have never been on a farm a day in your life. You grew up in metropolitan Detroit, and now you think you want to be a fucking farmer. Like you don't know. Like I worked on my uncle's farm one day, literally, and it was this fucking ridiculous. I worked on his farm for a day, and you know what happened? By the end of the day, I was sunburnt, covered in poison ivy, and I got stung by bees. That's what a farmer's life is like. I respect farmers, because that is a different kind of lifestyle, man. It's a grind, and like guys think like farming is this thing where like they think they cut the grass and so they're a farmer. There's a difference between cutting the grass and farming. Like, it's a pain in the ass. Like, this is not a lifestyle you want. And that's just kind of a riff. But like my point with this is like, there's all these people, and they want to be like, we should just all act like the world hasn't changed. We should, get married and do the traditional thing. We're going to do the traditional values game. We're going to, it's basically like this thing where you get all of the bad stuff of the old world and all of the bad stuff of the new world, because you get like, you try and force the marriage thing to work, but then you also try and like grind. It's got like this hustle culture vibe to it, where they're like trying to grind and lock the fuck in and get money. But then you get all this money and success that you're trying to get, and then you end up spending it on some woman. Like, so you get married, and like you just like you're like this plow horse basically, who just builds this amazing life for a woman who doesn't respect you. That's what happens. And that's why I put this guy right down here on the bottom. That's Steven Crowder. If you don't know who he is, he's one of these conservative guys who's like a trad con guy. And he built like an empire for himself. He's one of the biggest like commentators in this space, and his wife divorces him. And so she's getting this bag off this shit. And like, it's just an example of how this doesn't work. And then that girl at the top, there's Tommy Lahren. There's like this whole like movement of these conservative chicks that are literally whores, just like the rest of them. But they LARP like somehow they've got traditional values, but they're basically just like pinup girls for like loser conservative guys. And they like have they want basically all the perks of being a traditional woman with none of the responsibilities of being a traditional woman. And this is how these women act. And she's been divorced at least once, maybe twice. And then I put like, I hate to pick on Jordan Peterson, truthfully, because like he has crashed out, but like in the past, he was a very influential person on me. So I usually try to leave him alone. But he's another example of this, where he just like beats up on like anything modern when it comes to relationships. And he just doesn't quite seem to get it. And, I mean, his daughter's kind of example of this. She's sort of like beats up on like kind of like the way things are with like relationships and stuff, but she's been divorced once. And I'm like, what are we doing here with this shit? And so like this is the other option people go down. They either put their head in the sand, they crash out and get bitter, or they do the tradcon thing where they basically try to like instill and force these traditional values on the world and on their life, but it just doesn't work because there's a fundamental problem with this, which is like they think that what has happened in the modern world is that shit has gone awry, but really what's happening in the modern world is that nothing's really changed other than the technology. Like women were always going to be this way. It's just they didn't have social media. Like it's not like it's female nature is such that like if I mean we would be the same way if you had 100 women wanting to sleep with you all the time, you'd be pretty picky too, and you'd be like acting a certain way about it, right? So like women are in the spot where they've got an inbox full of guys dying to take them out to dinner, fly them out on a jet, all this type of shit. I was talking to a girl the other day, decent looking girl, nothing crazy, and she was talking about a guy flew her out on a jet to Miami, and she's just like a normal girl. And I'm just like, this is what these girls are doing out here. And so like this is how it is in the modern world. And they try to act like something has changed like fundamentally, like the value structure we live in. I don't think that's it. I think that technology has just exposed what was already there, and that has changed the game. And so you can't go back in time, because even if you try to be the trad con husband and like we're gonna get married, like your girl still has an inbox full of dudes trying to hit her up. And she's still going to be in this hypergamous state where she's judging you against all these other guys. And if you don't understand intersexual dynamics, you are going to get run over. You get what I'm saying? So like this shit doesn't work either. And I really am going to have to start taking these guys apart because I just think this is a stupid way to go about it. These options just don't work. None of these options work, clearly. Being a normie, putting your head in the sand, crashing out, being a trad, these things do not work. But there's a fourth door that you can take, and this is what this channel is all about. It's about life maxing, okay? That is what we do here on this channel. Life maxing is about making this one life you have the best it could possibly be. You embrace the way the world is and figure out how to get the most out of it. It is like all those three things I just showed you are a rejection of reality. Head in the sand is a rejection of reality. Being bitter is a rejection of reality. The tradcon thing and trying to like go back in time or trying to act like this isn't happening, that is also a rejection of reality. The life max path is about saying, okay, this is the way things are. Now, like, how do I win? How do I like get the most out of this? Because this is actually an amazing time to live. I put it right here. If you don't complain about the world, you realize it's a pretty amazing time to be alive. Like, this is genuinely, in my opinion, the best time to ever be alive. The access to information, the ability to connect with people all over the globe, the ability to make money from a laptop. You can travel more than ever. You can work from wherever. Like, just like the options available to you. The women are prettier. Like, go back and look at back in the day. Like, women have gotten prettier. Let's just be honest. They look better. And also like I'm kind of down with the fact that like I don't have to go like get married just to have a decent sex life. Like, why would you want to do that as a guy? It doesn't make much sense. Like, we actually won in this new agreement. Like, the women lost. They think they won. This was like the great psyop that has been thrown on women, is that women somehow think they won by being, quote, sexually liberated, but the guys won. Because now we don't have to commit and we can get what we want, right? Because like they're the ones who benefit from a relationship, not the guy. And so like if they don't get the relationship and we get what we want, which is sexual access, then we won, they lost. And again, it's just, I hate to put it that way, but it's just true, right? Like I mean, it's just, it makes sense when you understand it that way. So like, this is actually an amazing time to be a guy if you just embrace that shit. If you're like, okay, like this, the game has changed. Let's figure out how to play it, right? The world today is great to, quote, individualists. I think this is an important point. It is not set up for the normal person to do well. It is set up for the person who is radically individual. A radically autonomous person is going to crush it in today's world. Somebody who, just doesn't listen to the rules, doesn't listen to the system, does what they think is right, goes for it, has balls, goes out and does this shit, doesn't need other people, doesn't need all these things, right? You can have friends and all that kind of stuff, but you are very autonomous. You are very much like your own man who can handle himself. If you are that kind of guy, this is an amazing time to be alive. The system will not take care of you, but if you take care of yourself, this life is pretty epic. It just is, guys. Like, the more I lean into this, the better my life gets, okay? This is the type of shit that is available to you on the Life Maxed path that just, like, you couldn't do this shit back in the day, right? Working from a laptop. You've got YouTube, so you've got unlimited access to information and the ability to connect with people that you really resonate with. You can get ideas in your head. Back in the day, the only thing you had for information was what was passed down to you by your parents or the school system or something. You have the ability to think freely and be your own person and learn your own things. We have the ability to travel better than ever before. You've got Instagram and things like that, so you can connect with people all over the place. You can use Instagram for your dating life. You can use it for your business. Again, like, so much shit is available here. This is what's available to you if you embrace reality. We have the ability to pursue passions, right? Like, I can go box and things like that. And back in the day, like, you were making $1 a day at some factory or some shit in the early 20th century. And then it was, you were working in a factory in the 1950s. And when you got done with your factory job, you went home and you ate dinner, and then you got up the next day and you did it again. And this was what people did. And, like, this is why I say, like, don't complain about the way the world is today. It is better as long as you embrace it. Like, I'd much rather live today than in the 1950s. You know what I mean? We have the ability to go pursue things. You can go on dates with pretty women and things like this and just have a good time. You can just be chill and enjoy your life. Like, this stuff's available to you if you get your shit together, pretty much. Life Maxer understands that the problem isn't the world. The problem is that most people are playing an outdated game. Most people are still trying to play the game that your parents played. They are playing the go to college, get a 9-to-5, get married, have 2.2 kids game. They're playing this game, but that doesn't work anymore. You can't even afford children until you're like 80 at this point. You can't buy a house until you're 40. I told you the average first-time buyer in America is 41 years old at this point. You can't afford a house. You can't, if you play the normal game, you're going to be in debt with no children, with a divorce, renting a one-bed apartment that is dimly lit, that sounds like somebody got shot out front. There's a roach on the fucking floor. It is a shit show. This is what happens if you just play the normal life path. You have to act differently. And it's just simply that you're playing an outdated game. The world has changed. We've got globalization. We've got AI. We've got social media. We've got, outsourcing things. We've got just everything has changed. And we know this, right? You've got iPhones now. You know what I mean? Like, we don't, just everything has changed. I don't even need to keep giving you examples. You get it. For men who get their shit together, there has never been a better time to live. This is when I say, like, it's not set up for normies. Normies who are just going to be lazy and watch Netflix and sports and drink beer. Like, those people are cooked. Like, it's not going to end well for them. And that's just how it is, right? But if you're willing to go put in the work, like, it's just an amazing time to live. It really is, because you just look around, you're like, oh, like, if I have money, like, I can go do whatever. And if I have a good body and I'm a good looking guy and I have confidence and I understand how to deal with women, I can have a fantastic dating life. Like, this stuff's available to you if you just put in the time. This is why I made the video, stay single and boring for 3 years, because you need that block of time where you just lock the fuck in and eat shit and change your life so you can get access to all of this kind of stuff. Okay. So how do you life max? Well, the first thing you need to do is you need to develop the right mindset, okay? And this is what we call douche maxing here on the channel. You want to develop the douche mentality. Now, what is involved in the douche mentality? Well, here's a few key elements of it. The first thing, become hyper independent. That means you are not seeking relationship. That means you are not trying to constantly, like, have other people solve your problems for you. You're not looking at the government to take care of things for you. You're not looking at society. You're not blaming women for things. You're not blaming other people for things. You take radical responsibility and understand, like, your life is in your hands and you don't need anybody else to complete you. You break that whole myth of, like, finding a soulmate. You break all this bullshit and you're like, I'm good with me. And at the end of the day, I'm going to die alone. And that's how it is for every single person that has ever lived. You die alone at the end of the day. Even if somebody's in the room with you, you died alone. It was you and yourself at the very end. And all you've really got in this life is God. That's really the only thing you can fucking count on. Everything else is temporary, okay? And you understand this, and it's not a bitter pill. It's really like a good thing, because it's like, okay, cool. I don't need anything from anybody. I'm complete. I'm good enough as I am. And now let's go do some cool shit. And if I want to date a girl, I'll date a girl. If I find a friend, I'll be friends with them. But I'm good, right? And you just go through life with that feeling of, like, I'm good. I don't need anything from anybody. You embrace life as a game full of challenges and cool experiences. This is a really important element of the douche mentality. You're not like so many people take life serious in the sense that they're like, really like stressed about things like bills and shit like that. And I get it, because I've been poor before, and it's a fucking brutal existence. I would never want to go back to that. But on some level, it's like, you understand, if you understand you're going to die, then you understand it's like, why am I spending all of my time being so concerned about shit that is temporary? And when you have that mindset, what you do is you say, okay, I'm here for a limited amount of time. I'm going to do the most I can with this to just have an epic time. I'm going to do cool shit. I'm going to just push myself. I'm going to see what I'm capable of. I'm going to go out and do challenging things, and, have cool experiences, and just make the most of this life. And so, like, you go do things, but you do it from this kind of loose sense where you're not really attached to the outcome, because at the end of the day you're going to lose it all anyways. You make $100 million, you're going to lose it when you die. So, like, it doesn't mean don't go make the money, because that would be cool and you could have the money if that's something you want to do. That's the kind of thing that I think about doing. But it also just means it's like, it's not really that big of a deal in a certain way, because it's just all temporary. And truthfully, it's more important to focus on, like, who you are as a man, which we're going to get into here in just a second with one of the core pillars of life maxing. But, like, it's not about the externals, because they can't complete you. Again, going back to hyper independent, and they're going to be gone anyway. So it's really just about you making yourself everything you can be, and all this other shit is just here today, gone tomorrow, and you enjoy it while it's here. The next thing you do is you say, fuck it, we ball. So you have this attitude of just like, let's do shit, let's make shit happen, let's go after it. Like, you're not in this like clinging on to things energy. You're like, what's epic? What's dope? What's like the coolest thing I could do? Like, let's go for it. Let's take the chance. Let's be risky, right? Because if you don't risk things, you're not going to be successful in life anyway. So, like, you have that attitude. You prioritize yourself and your one life over the obligations society tries to put on you. So society's going to finger wag at you and tell you, you should get married, you should have children by this point, you should go to college, like all this shit. You're just like, fuck all of y'all. I'll do what I want, right? And so you have this radical sense of, like, again, hyper independent. I don't give a fuck what everybody else tells me to do. I'm gonna do what I think is right. And if that means get married, then get married. If not, then don't. But you don't do anything just for the approval of society, pretty much. You got to be radical, embrace radical honesty and truth. So that means, like, for the truth element, you embrace the way the world is, and you go wherever that leads you. And if it leads you to some shit that you're like, whoa, that is way darker than I thought it would be, which a lot of times it does, then you embrace that and you figure out how can I, in the face of this truth, what should I do? And then you try and, like, play the game accordingly. Honesty means you speak your truth, right? You don't hold back on that. You're not apologizing for what you think is correct. You believe in, like, freedom of speech is like a big element of this, right? Like, you just think people should say what the fuck they think. And if they're wrong, fine, but we'll discuss that, but, like, you embrace that level of honesty. You're honest with yourself. You're honest in the way you show up in the world. And so when you do these kinds of things, this is a core element, because you can't life max without this kind of mentality, because you'll just be too intimidated by life. You'll be controlled by other people. You'll be a people pleaser, all this kind of stuff. So you got to get the douche maxed mentality going, okay? Number 2, get rich and free. Use the opportunities of the modern world to build a rich lifestyle that doesn't rob you of your freedom. So, like, back in the day, if you wanted to get rich, you basically had to sacrifice your life for it. Like, you had to, like, run like a steel factory and build it. And every day it was 16 hours a day at the steel factory and all this kind of shit. And, like, you don't actually have to do that anymore. If you want to get really, really successful, you do have to lock the fuck in. But, like, to have, like, a decent quality life, you don't have to go crazy. You do have to have a work ethic. You have to work harder than a normal person, but it's not insane. It's not like hellish, right? Like, you can still have a life. Like, I mean, I don't think in the early 1900s, I'm not sure I would have had the stomach to be rich. I truthfully, I think because honestly, I don't care that much about money. As funny as I do, like, I want to get rich, but I want to get rich for all the perks that come with being rich. I don't care that much about being rich just for the sake of it. You know what I mean? So, like, honestly, I think in the early 1900s, I would have been like a fucking, like, bodybuilding gym bro or, like, surfer or some shit. I would have just done that stuff and, like, done whatever, like, because that sounds like a hellish life, to spend all day every day trying to get money. Like, it just doesn't really click for me. Never before in history has it been possible to do this, where you can literally just have freedom and money at the same time, and do it at a young age, because people are getting rich younger than ever if you understand how to play the game. Like, this kind of shit right here has opened up so many doors, finance and understanding how to play those games. These were secrets that were kept from us forever, but thanks to things like the internet, we have been able to understand how the financial system works, and people have started to use this. This is why so many people get into real estate investing, or they get into stocks, or they get into, buying businesses and things like that. They've learned how to play the game the same way that the people who have been running the game have been playing it for so long. We've got social media where you can start businesses. I get most of my business through Instagram for my real estate business. I mean, I post content on there. And because of that, I don't have to be out here banging on doors. I don't have to spend a ton of money on marketing. I just post my content. I literally can have the content pre-made, go on a trip, post the content this has literally happened. I'll be on a trip, post a piece of content, somebody responds to the content, and I get a lead while I'm literally on the other side of the country just having fun. And then I get back into town and deal with the new business that I've got. We've got things like YouTube, again, where you can create channels like this and things like that. You can work from a laptop and run an online business. You can use your phone to conduct business. You can leverage artificial intelligence and modern technology. You can leverage the global economy we have to get jobs done for very affordably if you're starting some sort of new business and things like that. Like, the world is it is your oyster if you will just fucking embrace it. Like, it's actually fucking sick. Like, I do not feel bad for people who get bitter about the world. The world is fucking dope. It's like people will be sitting around complaining about how back in the day, you could get a good interest rate on a savings account. And I'm like, yeah, but back in the day you had to work in a fucking factory. It's like, okay, so you don't get a good interest rate on a savings account, but all the assets are going up in value. So you can invest in those. You can get debt for cheap. You can do all this other stuff. You can create businesses for literally nothing. You can just start an Instagram account and start a business that day. There's a lot of good shit going on here, guys. Number 3, view personal growth as your life's work. You are the greatest thing you will ever build. This is the way a life maxer views it. They don't view it as I'm building a career. They don't view it as I'm building, a relationship with a woman. They view it as I am the project. I am this thing, and the better I get, the better my life gets. And how this works is you improve your skills, you're going to get paid more. You improve your ability to deal with women, you're going to have better relationships with women. You improve your network, you're going to have a better life, right? You understand that it is you getting better, you getting past your own bullshit, you improving your mindset, you improving your skills, you in getting more disciplined. The better you get, the better your life gets. And this is how a life maxer views it. And so life is a constant effort of personal growth and going out and getting better and fulfilling yourself and being the best version of you can be. Seeing what you are capable of, challenging yourself, and getting better is what life is all about. This is what this looks like, right? You're out here training. These are just these are just a few examples, right? Insert whatever your shit is, right? Building businesses, training, doing these kinds of things. You're reading books that help you with your mindset. You're listening to good quality podcasts and stuff like that. You're just getting better. You're putting information in your head. You're going out and saying, what's that thing that I'm afraid to do that I know would make me better? And I'm going to do that. What's that challenge that would bring the most out of me? Those are the kinds of things you're thinking about, and you're constantly leaning into these things. This is what a life maxed approach to life is all about. This is where fulfillment comes from. It doesn't come from the couch. It comes from being out in the world, doing battle and getting better. That is what life's all about. This is what will give you true purpose and fulfillment, is setting goals and going after them. You are your best investment. You understand this, and because of that, you spend money and time on getting better. That means you buy courses. That means you join communities. You pay for coaching. You get the gym membership. You get the quality food, right? You take care of your health. That's another part of understanding you are your best investment. Well, that starts with, making sure your body's in good shape, right? I didn't end up putting it in this video, but one of the key pillars of life maxing is you prioritize your physical health. That's something that's super important. It's at the foundation, because if your health's fucked, everything's fucked. I don't care how rich you are. If your health's fucked, then what have you got? You know what I mean? It's just a mess. You want to be in good shape. That's going to make you more attractive to women. You're going to have a better life. You're going to feel better. You're going to be more confident, everything, right? Spend money and time on getting better. That means, again, I also view this with the gym, right? People will be like, I don't have time to go to the gym. I'm like, you make fucking time. What are you talking about? That's essential. You know what I mean? So spend money and time on getting better. This is a huge element of life maxing. You want to really commit your effort to improvement, because the more you get better, the better your life gets. It just makes sense. The reason somebody is working at McDonald's making $7 an hour or some shit is because that is all that their level of personal growth will allow them to get to. They have a victim mentality. They have, maybe they're addicted to certain things or substances, or they can't get off their phone, or like they've got all these negative thought patterns and things that are holding them back. Their perspective on life is a certain way. They're not, getting certain skill sets. Maybe they have a bad attitude. Maybe they're just lazy, right? Like all of that shit leads to them working at McDonald's. That is a lack of personal growth that put them in that situation. You understand this, right? The CEO of a massive Fortune 500 company is there because of certain personal growth that he has done. He understands how to communicate. He understands how to lead teams. He understands certain skills related to businesses. He understands how to deal with investors and shareholders. He understands how to deal with the press and the media. He understands supply chains and global economics. He's put in work on this shit. He's gotten better. You get how that works? So it's all about personal growth leading to everything you want in life. Life maxing is about working hard and playing hard. You put in the work on yourself and then you reward yourself. This is what this looks like. This has been my approach, and I just think it works because I'm not a big fan of like saving money in the traditional sense where you basically just like penny pinch cash and hope to someday retire, because truthfully, we don't even know what the world's going to be like in 30 years, guys. Like if I had to put my money on it, I think the US government's going to collapse in the next 30 years, honestly. Like I think the economy is going to fall apart. We're going to go into a hyperinflation. We're going to lose our world reserve currency status. Like it's all fucked. Like I really believe that on some level. And so like I'm not banking on 30 years from now. I'm just not. And so this is another element of why you want to invest in yourself, because if you invest in yourself, then you put yourself in a position where you are so skilled and you have such a well-developed network and you understand how to play the game of life so well that no matter what happens, you're going to be good. And that way you don't have to sit around in scarcity constantly. Like if I have a network full of ultra successful people and I understand business at a high level and I have a certain level of competency and an ability to manage my emotions and think in a certain way, I'm not as worried about whatever fucking happens because I know I can handle it. You know what I mean? And I just think everybody needs to get to that space. Otherwise, you're just being naive. So anyways, the way I approach things is, I try to go on these like sprints of hard work. Maybe it's a month, maybe it's 6 months, kind of just depends on the situation, where I work really hard on shit. I'm really locked in, really focused, not going out all that much. And then I have this thing where I reward myself. I go do something cool and enjoy it. And here's just a couple examples, right? Like I took these dune buggies out when I was in Arizona last time. I went to Miami on a trip at the beginning of the year, took out the jet car. Like, I mean, these are just kinds of things. Like these are just a couple examples of things that I do where like I go from the phase of really working hard and then I go do some shit that I think's cool, a cool experience. Life maxing is about hard work and cool experiences, having great stories to tell when you die, right? Like this is what this is all about. You want to be that guy, like, I mean, you don't want to be the father who has a son and you don't have anything interesting to tell him. You want to be that father who can pass down shit to your son. You want to be that father that your son looks at you and thinks you are like the most badass dude alive. And that's not going to happen from watching Netflix. You've got to be the one who's like, yeah, I won a boxing fight and I was a black belt in this thing. Even my father, right? My father was like, he did karate for a long time. And even as a kid, I just thought that was cool. And like my dad did karate, right? And so he could show me a couple karate things. And like, it's just cool. And you're like, okay, he did something. And that's just like, there's this deep masculine desire to be able to pass down wisdom from your life, I think. And so many guys are losing that opportunity because they haven't done shit. What are you going to teach your son? How to play fucking Minecraft? Like, he's not going to be impressed by you. He's just going to think my dad's gay. That's what he's going to think. You know what I mean? Like, go do some cool fucking shit, guys. Work hard, play hard, okay? Number 4, learn and embrace intersexual dynamics. Learn to be good, learn how to be a man, and learn how to be good with women. We just aren't taught this shit. You need to understand how the world works when it comes to dating, when it comes to women, what women are actually attracted to, what a man is actually like, because everything you've been fed for most of your life is complete bullshit, okay? Don't complain about the way the world works. That's the other element of this, right? So like, you're going to learn all this shit, and so many guys get bitter at women. There's no reason to get bitter at women. This is how Mother Nature made them. And it made you a certain way too. And women, honestly, let's be real. Women have a lot of gripes with men, and some of them are pretty valid. Like I think we have a lot of complaints about women, but women have a lot of complaints about us. And like I think it's fair, because there are a lot of shithead dudes out there too. And so like I try to give women a pass on a lot of the shit. Like I'm not going to put up with bullshit in my life. I'm not just going to like be some like feminist or something like that. But I see no reason to be upset at them for being them. Just like let them be whatever the fuck they are. And however you want to incorporate that into your life is up to you. If you want to get married, do that. If you want to date, do that. If you want to be fucking MGTOW and be single forever, do that. If you want to just have a hookup life, do that. I don't give a fuck. Life maxing is not telling you what to do here necessarily. It's just saying you should probably know how this game works, not be bitter about it, and then just embrace it and play it however the fuck you like to play it. Number 5. Build a network of like-minded people. You want to be in a spot like this, right? But you can't do this if you haven't done all these other steps. If you don't have the right mentality, then nobody's going to want to be around you, right? Like, I'll just talk to some people sometimes and I'm like, yeah, this guy's just not it. Like, I'm just like, get this fucking guy away from me, because his mindset's fucked. His attitude's fucked. He doesn't have the personal growth. He's just, and you don't want him around you. But if you want to have a network, like I know all of you do, where you're sitting around, you're probably like, I'm the only person I know who's watching this kind of content. And it makes you feel alone, and it makes you feel like, nobody gets you, and you want to have brothers who are on the same path as you. Well, you're not going to get that unless you've done all the work on yourself first. You do those first 4 things I told you. You've trained, you've built yourself. You are somebody of substance who has accomplished things in his life. And you start to get to the point where you have people around you, right? Here's again another picture of me from that trip to Miami with a friend of mine that I went with. These are like real friendships with people who I relate to. And I have that opportunity to make these kinds of connections because of the person I've made myself into. If you haven't done the work, you're not going to have these friends because they're just not going to want to be your friend. There's the picture of Andrew Tate with like his war room. It's like, that's the shit that you really want. This is what life maxing is all about. It's like you're hyper independent based on the douche mentality, but you still have other friends and they're also hyper independent. You all come together and you do epic shit together, right? I think I put it right here. Find the people who see the world like you do and do epic shit together. That is what we're focused on doing here, guys. You don't want to just play this game of life alone. You want to find the people who are like you, but it's hard to do if you haven't done all the work on yourself first. Normal doesn't work anymore. That's what I want to sum this video up with. It just doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that when there's other options out here? It's not set up for you to win the normal life game, okay? But if you embrace a different path, life can be better than ever before. You got to understand that. Like, seriously, embrace this life max path. There has never been a better time to live. Now, the last thing I'm going to leave you with, guys, if you find this content valuable and you want to find your brotherhood and actually level yourself up, go join the Life Max School community that I have started. Here's a testimonial from one of the guys inside the group. He said, there's a few pivotal moments in life where you're presented with a choice that can drastically affect your life for the better, and joining the school community was one of those for me. Thanks to the community, accountability, calls, and guides, I've been able to transform my life in a total 180. I've got a business I'm creating, a new body, new mindsets, new goals, literally an entirely new me. It's crazy how much you're able to change when you're willing to just do the simple work you spend avoiding. This is what you can get inside the Life Max group, guys. I highly encourage you, if you want a better life for yourself and you resonate with this content, go join us inside. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'll talk to you later.